Do you remember what happened last time?
There was a big fight. Lorelai went down. I brought her back. That was difficult. One of the witches escaped, um, but we were able to stop the onslaught with just one hole in the wall, and we are going to. Raiken's climax song came back. It got recharged, and now we are going to meet the court that Zentharamel is going to introduce us to.
Yes. I actually wish that I had more tokens, just because there's going to be a bit of overlap, reuse. There's only so many tokens in this program so far, so just gonna be pulling some things out and then kind of going, yeah, that fits, and then naming it, because I didn't do that prior to you showing up, because I'm not a smart person. I was going over my notes on things as opposed to doing that. Another thing to mention is that Zentharamel showed you that here in his domain in the Feywild, he has the ability to draw magic from the air and give it to people. He did this for Raiken to restore your spell slots.
Yes.
You also saw that he has the power to strongly influence people that serve under him in his court, to the point that he was able to alter Lorelai's form.
Yes.
You know that
She got a little bigger, didn't she?
she got a little bit bigger, like, you know, she was already only a few inches tall, being a small sprite. So, you know, maybe a 30% increase in height there. She also looks a bit beefier.
Okay.
Like, this seems like it's a stronger form. You don't know exactly all this entails, but you do. I will say that it's not a difficult logical leap to say it's unusual to be able to control the form of another creature.
Okay.
Oh, well, there's the roof. Very well. So, as we said, you defended the walls of Autumn's Elegy last time. You almost managed to do so without any damage to them, but this large living tree did manage to magically empower its tree-like fists and penetrate one of the walls somewhat. You did prevent further damage, which seems to be sufficient for Zentharmel's needs, and you did kill one of the hags, and one of the hags killed all the pixies, sprites, so the only thing that got away was one hag. As Zentharamel leads you over to the door, I'll pull up my notes for a second. Wrong notes. These notes. He is going to stop a moment and say, I don't believe I've informed you, but the people here will be referring to me as Count Zentharamel. That is my rank in the Fey Courts. You would do well to either continue using Liege or to refer to me by my title.
Okay. Where does Count stand amongst all of the ranks, my liege?
Not highly. It is above Baron and Viscount. It is below Marquis, Duke, and Prince. So it is just below middle.
Okay.
Some of the guests who will be arriving do outrank me, and I need to impress them to gain their alliance, which means you need to impress them.
Am I supposed to... am I supposed to acknowledge them in a certain way as well?
I will introduce them by their titles. You will need to remember those names and titles.
All right, I will do my best.
We're gonna go through a few things, but I think that due to our limitations on time, I want to give you the ability to get deep on some things. I'm going to introduce the ones I definitely have names for, but it will be understood that there will be a few others of lower rank who will be named, who I don't have named yet. I'll just make them not important in this scene.
Okay.
So, I was trying to come up with more names.
Well, now you'll have more time.
I would rather not have to have that excuse. But I failed, unfortunately.
It's okay. It works out.
Let me just see if I can pull thing. Fucking... Probably... Elf. Use this. Not enough things that look fancy without also looking, combative. And the ones that don't look combative generally don't, look fancy, which is odd.
Yeah.
Alright, so, as you wait there, probably feeling a bit stressed, not knowing exactly what to expect, waiting for the moment that someone arrives, just trying, in general, not to offend your host, or any of his guests. You are going to see a person almost materialize out of the woods beyond this gate. And you do see that more materialize after them in a similar fashion. Unlike the creatures that had attacked earlier, you did not hear these coming, you did not see any mark of their passage on the forest itself. No crunching of underbrush, no moving of the branches around them. They seemed to just appear out of thin air between the line of trees and the building itself. And the first one that steps in is a tall and elegant-looking, elven-shaped woman. She has pale, almost ivory skin, with long silver hair, and she's wearing this very, material plane appearing gown. This long, sleek affair with a shawl stretched between her arms behind her back. The whole thing is done in light blues and silvers with accents done in navy. And as she looks around, you notice the first inhuman thing you really notice about her besides her size is that her eyes themselves have like a light blue glow to them and almost look to be frosted over. There's just this eerie, inhuman aura that she gives off as she looks around the place with these glassy, frosted eyes. And Zintharbel straightens and, adjusts his robes before saying, "Greetings and welcome to Autumn's Elegy. Marchioness," and she holds up a hand as she passes in front of him, cutting him off speaking. And she says, "Please, I would like you to call me Mistress," in this sultry voice.
Okay.
He dips his head, says, "Of course, Mistress." He directs her within, says, "You will find the area is prepared with music, accommodations, and foods. These partake of all my court has to offer during your stay. I would introduce my supplicants. Raiken is a dragonborn from the material plane.
Go
ahead.
At this, Raiken will put his fist to his chest and bow and be like, "Mistress."
She will. You feel her icy gaze upon you, and you hear a bit of playfulness in her voice, and she says, "I see. The Count is taking in creatures from the material plane, stepping up your game already, Count Zintharamil. I am certain you have many fascinating stories of the material plane, do you not, mortal?"
I have a few crazy stories of my own that I can fill you in on.
She seems to smile almost delightedly, and she says, "Well, once you have greeted all of the Count's fine guests, perhaps you could find me within and give me one or two of these stories."
Would be my pleasure.
She turns back to the Count, says, "I see you have good taste in mortals, Count. It is my honor to grace this." And she seems to stop and look for a word for it. You actually do see that a more strained expression crosses her face for a moment as she seems to take in the place again and think. She says, "Nascent domain." She begins to move in, and Zintharamil stops her momentarily to quickly introduce Lorelei, who gives a very courtly curtsy without words. "No, they're too big! Get over there!"
I love seeing it after you say it. So I'm like, I get to look forward to what's happening.
Whatever's going on. Get to do all this stuff. What I get for not preparing things ahead of time.
Look like an elf commoner.
No. I forgot, anything larger than medium makes it stomp. The next creature to appear at the door is apparently a humanoid male, though it is difficult to place what race he is attempting to embody. He is dressed in finery that looks absolutely of the material plane. the soft linens, the fabrics of the outerwear, even jewelry. You might mistake this man for a king on your material plane. But there is still something just on the other side of discomforting about his facial features. You know that he is not human nor elven. He is pretty, but you cannot place what this man, this apparent man, is. And as he approaches, Zintharamil bows deeply and says, Marquis Valurius, I was uncertain if you would be able to make it to our festivities today. It does my court great honor to entertain one such as yourself. From the quick rundown of ranks, you know that both of the people who have just entered outrank Zintharamil significantly.
Okay.
The Marquis looks around, adjusting the necklace hanging over his shirt, which appears to be festooned with cut gems of every color. And as he lowers his hands to his front, you'll see him adjusting again a ring with his other hand. He seems to be almost making certain that you notice the riches upon his body as he looks around and looks you up and down. And he says in a deep and inviting voice, Count Zintharamil, I had considered other options for engagement today. And for a moment, you feel this imperious nature coming off him, almost like he's trying to assert that this is beneath him, before he suddenly seems to, and inexplicably, warm, and he smiles, and says, But it is, of course, my own great honor to be able to come, see, mingle with, and he looks away for a moment before finishing, assist the newer nobility. I have high hopes for what you do with Autumn's Elegy, Count Zintharamil. And Zintharamil, you see, maintains his low bow, says, Again, I am honored to host you, and would willingly accept any advice one of your rank has to offer myself. Please, I would like you to meet my ward from the material plane, Raiken. He is a dragonborn of House Lumas, nobility unto himself.
Raiken will bow again with a fist to his chest, and looking at the ground, he will speak and say, Marquis. Is that how you spell it, Marquis?
Yeah, it'd be pronounced Marquis.
Okay. Marquis Valurius, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you join us.
Ah, excellent. I see the Count is bringing others into the fold of his nobility. You shall enjoy great riches and provenance with us.
Thank you, Marquis.
He smiles, again, warmly, and yet it's tinged with that inhuman nature to his being that makes you just a bit uncomfortable. He seems perfectly nice, reasonable, and friendly, so this discomfiture is surprising, to say the least. Move them over here for now. Actually, I can just teleport things. Haha, why would it still stomp? Looks like I have one more good me. I named 3 out of 6. I'll use this one for now. This one is Baroness. Another creature, this time not near in size or majesty to the others that you saw, comes in with a entourage of sprites of their own, similar in form, though clearly different in demeanor from Lorelei. All of them are dressed as though the forest itself clothed them, the clothing appearing to be of leaves and flower petals and shoots. And as they come in, they offer their hand up to Zentharmil and give their own slight curtsy, as Zentharmil says, "Ah, Baroness Elana Silva, it is my great honor to welcome you to my court, and I do hope that you find things to keep you here with us. Please, avail yourself of anything you find within, including conversation with my ward from the material plane, Raiken. He is himself a gallant knight and fighter for..." He pauses a moment and says, "justice. Where he comes from, these are important qualities."
What was her name again?
Baroness Elana Silva.
Elana Silva. Okay, I need to just make sure I have it
Yep,
somewhat spelled correctly.
It should be on your screen momentarily.
Alanis Silva.
Silva.
Okay. Alright, I got it. Alright.
Let me see, just a moment. Right. She curtsies to you as well. And as she comes back up, you do see, that she has a hand to her chin, like in a kind of, how do I explain this? Kind of in a shy manner, almost. Like the way, if you've seen courtiers portrayed before, it is sort of the way they put on this air of demure approachability. I wasn't sure what you said just now.
Okay.
Okay. And as she takes her hand away, you actually notice her entire face changes to appear as a different person, almost.
Oh.
She says, "It is a pleasure to meet someone from the material plane here in the Feywild. We don't get many creatures as yourself."
Raiken will do what he has done the last 2 times and bow deeply with a fist on his chest, and he will come back up and reply with, yes, we do not see many Fae on the material plane either, which makes it all the more of an honor to be in your presence, Baroness Elaniswea.
As you rise from your bow and say this, you realize that she is now wearing a third face, different from the previous two. But she smiles mirthfully and says, well, I do hope that we can speak within. She looks to Count Zentharmel and says, I trust it will be an elegant affair. And Zentharmel nods his head and says, yes, as this is the first time my court is to be open to the rest of the nobility, the rest of the local nobility, I have made sure to provide all of the things one might expect. And he directs her within. You go through several more introductions like this, at least 3, for the ones that I have written out here. And they run much the same way as he introduces them by their title, and these pleasantries of being excited to host or be hosted are exchanged. It all feels very human. Very oddly human to you.
Doesn't seem so different from the material plane. Parties in the material plane.
Do you voice this?
If nobody else is around and it's just Lorelei and Zentharmel.
Okay. Lorelei will turn to you in her new form, and she seems to be slightly frowning, though not angry in any way. And she says to you plaintively, well, the Fey nobility are inspired by material plane traditions. That's why they use the same title system.
I see. Thank you for that knowledge.
While they may put on this, and she says more quietly as Zentharmel straightens himself and turns to go into his own party, as he says, do hurry along. They will want to speak with you. He moves off without forcing you, and Lorelei, watches him go a bit before lowering her voice further to remind you, while they may act very human, their goals and desires are their own, and they may not be easily understood by you. I can only caution you.
I appreciate it. I will keep my guard up while still trying to entertain them and stay on their good side.
She nods before fluttering in.
And Raiken will follow.
So, before you see the open courtyard with its pond and various flora and fauna. I wanted to say animals, but I wanted to make sure that it's understood that while many of these resemble or act like animals, analogs on the material plane, in general, they are not. They are fey, and as we said before, jackalopes and things like that are commonplace here. You do see that the guests have spread out and are slowly drifting into and out of each other's orbit, engaging in polite conversation. You see clusters of 2 to 3 as they discuss something. You're not sure at your distance as you take in the scene. You see that they are enjoying different foods. This is where the similarities to human society begin to taper, as it's not like there are waiters moving around with trays of food, or even like a setup crafts table where they could go and retrieve these things. Some of them seem to be partaking directly of animals that they retrieve off the ground, and similarly with plants.
Okay. Raiken will just try to play it off as if it doesn't phase him at all.
You do see, and you would have at least seen with some of the Fae that I haven't had a chance to name, that they did have entourages with them that included mortals of their own. So you would have seen humanoids that would be introduced similar to you as a ward from the material plane. By the way they dress, by the way they're introduced, you would be aware that at least some of the people you are meeting are warlocks receiving power from these Fae.
Okay. Is it that like kind of like the majority of what these entourages are? Is it like thought of as odd that Raiken? Well, I guess they probably wouldn't know whether or not, though, based off of what he looks, they might be able to assume he's not a warlock, and so it's kind of odd that he's.
Entourages that include people from the material plane do seem to be largely warlock.
But there are exceptions.
There are exceptions, though no other knights as yourself. Some of these seem to be people acting like hand servants.
Okay.
And you do see a number of things going on as you enter, aside from the direct partaking of live animals from the scenery. You do see that some of the Fae are availing themselves of the pond itself, and there are some more graphic activities being partaken of, which do not seem to draw anything but envy from people around them. It does not seem like two people or more becoming involved in such a way in the middle of this area is viewed as problematic in any way.
Okay.
For the most part, the people that you identified as warlocks seem to be, when they're not being directly called upon by their respective Fae, they appear to be off, huddled together in conversation, partaking of more normal foods that they procured from somewhere. So
okay, so at least it's not all just a giant living buffet.
Yeah, it's not entirely a giant living buffet, and it's not entirely an orgy, but those things are happening.
Okay.
So that being the setup for what you see as you enter, the people that you have met are. Boy, I put a lot of little animals on the screen, didn't I? They don't seem to take up so much room until you start putting names over them. But
yeah, Raiken's just thinking in his head, seeing all this, it's like, yes, Leah is definitely not old enough for this.
Perhaps. Perhaps you are onto something as to why she is not here.
She's got another 20 years until she's ready for this.
20 years! Okay, Dad.
Raiken says she would be older than him at that point of what he is now.
Exactly. She'd be 34. 30. Yeah, 34.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, wait, no. Did she turn 15 or did she turn 14?
She turned 14.
Okay, she turned 14. Yeah, so. Yeah,
She was
34.
13 when you met her. She's now 14.
Okay, yeah. Well. I think Raiken is like 24, so that's 10 years older than what he is. But, he's a dad.
The area is filled with an ambient music. You find at first that you can't really tell where it's coming from, but as you wander through the room and pay attention, you find that there are places around the room where magic seems to have gathered and is producing some of these tones. And further inspection, you find what appear to be plants of particularly odd design that seem to move with the music, and you become aware that some of the music is being produced by the plants, and some is being produced simply from the magic in the air. But it creates a sweet background to what might have been a very normal human party were it not for the eating animals and public sex.
Yeah. Raiken believes Leah would enjoy the plants, the music-creating plants, and he thinks also that Lara Mendes would find them fascinating and would love to study them.
You see that Lorelei is gently flitting from one group to another, spending a minute or two conversing politely in each place. So, given the scene before you, you can identify again Marquis Valurius, the woman who wanted you to call her mistress, Frosty Eyes, and of course Baroness Elena Silva. Whom would you like to share company with first? And you won't be slighting anyone by talking to anyone else first. This is a intermingling gathering of different companies that seem to be morphing and moving constantly.
Okay, I that's good that you pointed it out, because I was like, well, I don't know if I should stop at the Baroness first, since she's right there. I don't know if that would be sliding her, because she's right there and I just passed right by her.
Nope,
but
nope.
if it's more just general, like, that's not necessarily where they are currently or not, then...
yeah. You would not be slighting anyone by walking past them to talk to somebody else.
Okay. I think I will start with the mistress.
Okay. So you move over. The mistress is largely seems to be availing herself of the pond. You see that she is submerged, up to her waist of her tall form, and resting her arms against the mossy edge of the pool of water, while around her you can see that there are creatures, amphibious and reptilian, that almost resemble creatures from the material plane. Tree frogs with too many eyes and too many colors, that sort of thing. And you notice that as you approach, she seems completely calm and relaxed. She is eyeing you, watching you approach, and you see a smile spreading across her face, and you catch a bit of movement in the water ahead of her, and you see you turn your eyes just in time to see what you would describe as the ridged tail of an alligator or a crocodile slipping beneath the water's surface into the murk below.
All right.
She seems completely unbothered by this.
How's the water?
She smiles over at you as you come to stand by the side of the pool, and she tilts her head to one side before saying, I generally find that the most interesting people are drawn to water.
I just want to pause to say that when you zoomed in, I saw the alligator in there. That is freaking awesome.
I'm like, I have this token. I gotta find a place to use it. Perfect.
Well, all right. Well, I will nod and smile as well, and be like, well, yes, water is nice, though I tend to I tend to not be able to go very deep. Otherwise, I kind of drown with my size and my armor typically.
I see that you share this problem with others from your plane.
Yes, not all of us learn to swim, and even when we do, we're not the best at it.
Well, fear not. I will not force you into the pool, though I do think of this pool the same way I think of knowledge and interesting stories. It's something I just want to... And she, lowers herself so that her elbows slip into the water. Dive in and immerse myself in this intrigue. Your name was Raiken.
That is correct, mistress.
You are fascinating. Usually the people other people like me, they bring to this place and show off our people we give power to. Tokens, trinkets, baubles, something to show off rank and auspices, if you will. But you do not receive power from Zentharmel, do you? Pardon me, the Count.
No. My liege does not give me any power. I have agreed to be one of his knights.
You see her eyebrows rise interestedly as you say this.
A member of my party is who gets power from him.
I see. And this party is an event of great import to you.
I've been traveling with them for...
An entourage.
Yes, that is correct.
I apologize. I misunderstood your word.
I apologize for being a bit confusing.
I am pleased that you chose to speak to me. You told me earlier that you have many fascinating stories of daring do. I believe that to be true, as Zentharmel said to another that you are a gallant knight in your world.
Oh yes. I would love to regale you with a few of my stories, if you have the time.
Please, if you do not mind, I would love it if you would give me one of these stories.
Very well. Which one should I choose? Raiken's trying to decide if he wants to do the have you ever been a liquid story and go funny, or if he wants to talk about I think he's going to do the one what was the thunder lizard again?
The Behir.
Yeah, the Behir. Raiken's going to talk about that story. um, give the mistress the details of, how they went to Bromdor, and the whole getting captured in I guess it wasn't a bunch of wall of forces
Yep.
and magic,
Anti-magic
fields.
Yep.
And one of their former members of their entourage trapping them and that, and finding a way to get out, but being attacked by the Bahir, and how he, with all his strength and power, he was able to cleave the Bahir right in half with one fell swing.
You see her pressing her hand to her breast, and with an "oh my" expression on her face as you describe the beast and your sundering of it.
That is probably one of my favorite moments of my journey so far.
Wow. That was truly an amazing and daring tale. And as she says this to you, you become aware that the hand she has clutched to her chest has a leather-bound book beneath it that you don't remember her holding there before. And you smile and talk, finish saying how it's one of your favorite stories. And even as you're saying this, you find you don't remember what you were talking about.
Oh no!
You're not sure which story you were telling. There are so many good ones.
No, she's taking my memory away!
You cannot recall the story you just told.
Oh, what was I talking about just now?
I believe that you were about to regale me with the story of how you got that very fancy armor. I can feel the power of the gods coming off of it. I really must know how you acquired it. Would you give me that story?
Oh no, I'm so afraid! Damn you, Tristan! Oh my gosh. Well, that's the conundrum now, because now Raiken doesn't know what he told her.
He doesn't know what he told her at all! But you are aware.
Yeah, so now he doesn't know that she's basically taking his memories from him.
So I will say that you are aware that she has said, "Will you give me the story?" to you earlier. You remember agreeing to it. And then you know that you talked for a while, but you cannot remember what you talked about.
Damn it! You are so slick!
I thank you. This was definitely one of my favorite Fae to create.
I got think now. If Raiken would even recall the fact that
you can roll some insight.
That's a 19.
Okay. You know that she used this phrase before, very specifically, and it's not that it's a weird phrase, it is just that you know that she used it word for word before. Will you give me that story? And you know that you spoke earlier after agreeing to it, but you cannot for the life of you remember what you talked about. And you know that you had been warned by Lorelei that the Fae are dangerous and can do things the way Zentharmil did, as he bound you the way he did when you agreed to it.
Damn it.
So you are aware that
I'm
she is
aware I was
probably
talking to her.
you are probably binding yourself when you agree to that,
Okay.
and it's probably dangerous. But you don't know what you were talking about before, so you don't know if you've lost anything.
Well, crap. Oh, and so now she's asking how I got the armor.
She is asking if you will give her the story of how you acquired the armor. There's a hopeful look in her frosted blue eyes.
Crap. Because I don't. I feel like Raiken would still be freaking willing to give a goddamn story to her.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta play the character.
I know, that's the thing. I don't want him to lose the memory of the armor, but I mean, he likes to tell stories about himself.
He really does.
He does.
So there's two things to consider here. One, Raiken is aware that something is going on that's probably dangerous, and he knows he doesn't remember what he was just talking about. So he can be worried that that might happen again. Two, you might want to consider the roleplay aspect of this, where it might be fun to have the party talk about these stories that you know you were involved in and have Raiken not remember them.
What the hell are you talking about? That's not how I got this armor. I got this armor... How?
How? I know I got it. It was really cool. I think. Right? It was cool, right? So,
yeah,
those are the things to consider.
Raiken's just gonna... Unfortunately, Raiken's just gonna fall victim to himself.
Wonderful.
He likes to tell stories about himself, so he's going to give her the story of how they traveled searching for the armor and found it.
Okay, so I would like to invite you to regale me with this story in the way that you believe Raiken would present it, because this will be the last time he gets to do that, and there'll be a recording of it.
Okay.
You don't have to, but I would like to invite you to do so.
I'm trying to think about how I should start it.
Okay.
Like where I should begin. Okay. So we were searching for this armor. This mighty armor of Cord.
Ooh.
And we ended up figuring out several places it could be. We decided on one of them. It was in the desert. You'll have to inform me of names because I can't keep track of all the names of all the
The Desert of Torlos.
Okay. Desert of Torlos. We had to get through a whole bunch of storms. The magical storms.
I heard about those.
Yes, they can be quite dangerous. But we were able to get through them. And we found this giant ancient ruins. I need the name.
The Vaults of Garland.
Vault of Garland.
Just buried in the sand like that?
It was kind of buried, but kind of not. The storms are what kept people away from being able to find it. So we went down into the vault, and there were many traps. It's amazing that we actually made it out alive, but we made it through all these traps. But it was very odd. Part of it, we kept going in and out of almost what seems like old memories of somebody.
She does seem to, like, become even more attentive as you say they're someone's memories.
And what we found out was that they were memories from a lich that was in the vault, that was creating the storms in the desert, because she wanted to keep the armor from the world until it was destroyed.
My, so you rescued it from a powerful fell beast.
Yes, the Lich lost their loved one. They believe they lost them because of the armor. And so they wanted revenge by destroying the armor. However, we did not let her do that.
She sort of tilts her head to one side, her frosty, lightly glowing blue eyes, long lashes coming down in a slow blink, as she says, "So, you don't believe that it was actually the armor's fault?"
I don't believe it's the armor's fault. It was the person that was in the armor. They were the ones that decided that did the act that ended up taking their life. So it is then their fault that they used the armor that way. It was not the armor's fault.
There's no such thing as an evil object, only evil uses for objects. She seems to agree with you.
I don't believe it was evil intent, though. I believe it was an intent to use for good, to save what they cared about.
A noble sacrifice.
Exactly.
Very knightly, she begins fanning herself.
So we had to take the Lich down, and the only problem is we don't know if we killed her phylactery or not. We destroyed it, so we're hoping that we did. We found something that could have been her phylactery, but we won't know unless she ends up appearing again at some point.
Well, terrifying. I do hope that you were successful in destroying her. Powerful creature like that is very dangerous.
Yes.
She's now, like, at the side of the pool, like, with her arms folded on the mossy embankment, like, with her chin resting on her hands, looking up at you.
Yes, it was a great journey. What were we talking about again?
You see now that beneath her folded hands, where she rests her chin, there is now a large tome that wasn't there before.
Oh, man.
She just reaches up and, like, runs an oversized hand along the side of your ridged jaw and says, "You are truly a fountain of knowledge and a good servant to Count Zintharmil. I would hate to keep you from the rest of his party. You've entertained me long enough, and I've gotten to know quite a lot about you. If you have any other first editions, I would love to discuss them with you sometime."
Yes, perhaps another time, mistress.
She smiles and nods, making the book disappear somewhere into the water. That seems bad for it.
It's just like, God, I wish I remembered what we were talking about, though.
Yeah.
I feel like such a bad host.
She seems incredibly pleased, so you kind of also feel like a good host at the same time. It's a really confusing emotion. But you absolutely cannot remember any of what you were just talking about. But you do see your lightning bolt happily glowing in the corner of your display. Oh wait, no, you're not wearing the armor.
Yeah, I'm not wearing the armor currently.
Damn.
The armor that now I don't know how I got.
You summon it, you're like, haha, how did I get this? Oh, well, whatever.
I must have had this the whole time.
Born with it in my hand. Born wearing it. Mom was a trooper.
Oh, God. Alright, well, if she has moved on...
Yes.
Then, I guess I will, talk to another.
Alright. You have, of the named people, Marquis Valurius, who is covered in finery and seemed very happy, to, offer advice, to anyone seeking it. And Baroness Elana Silva, who seemed to change faces as readily as she did words.
I will go to the Baroness.
Okay. You find her among these horse-like creatures. You know what? They're probably centaurs. Let's just say they're centaurs.
Okay.
So she's among the centaurs. She seems to be conversing with them. You actually recognize the sound of the language that they're conversing in. You know that you've heard this once long ago when Laramendus used it to speak to a unicorn.
Alright.
You remember that it is Sylvan. And as she is speaking with the centaurs here in Sylvan, you notice that she is constantly, like, glancing past one of them over in the direction of Marquis Valurius. And anytime she does, you kind of see, like, she's wearing this, you know, accommodating, friendly smile most of the time, but every time she looks past the centaur in Valurius's direction, you see the smile fade for a moment before she snaps her attention back to the person she's speaking with and adopts her smile once more.
Baroness Elena Suea, is anything troubling you, perhaps?
She seems to make one final gesture to one of the centaurs, and they say something in their wind through the leaves language before the centaurs kind of turn slowly and begin milling about the grasses around you. And she brings her attention back to you, her face changing once more, her hair along with it this time. And she says, "No, of course not. This party is exactly what I needed it to be. Why, is something troubling you?"
I feel like I've forgotten a couple things, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I'm enjoying my time here with everybody.
Forgetting things is a most troubling circumstance, isn't it? You always feel that doubt, that empty space in your mind, don't you?
Yes, though I don't doubt myself very much, so at least I don't have to worry about that too much.
No, nothing of any particular import is troubling me at the moment. Are you enjoying your time with Zintharamil?
Yes, this is the first time I've done something like this. But yes, Count Zenthermel has been very good to me, and I am honored to be able to repay him.
She seems to take note of this, tilting her head somewhat and leaning a bit forward, saying, "Can you explain what it is that Zentharmil cares, the Count, cares most about?"
He cares about the world and nature, and
Which,
making sure. Oh, go ahead.
which world and whose nature?
I believe both the Feywild and the material plane. He wants them in balance and full of life.
And so you would say that he focuses his efforts on protecting these things?
Yes, I would. I would say that he does. I mean, look at Autumn's elegy here. It's vibrant. It's growing.
Indeed. It is a place that fascinates me. And you said that you are happy to repay him. What has he done for you?
Well, he's helped my party, my entourage in the material plane, with certain things that we've had to do.
And you feel that his ministrations to your needs are justified, well-intended, and well-directed?
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly.
That is good to hear. She kind of looks around a moment, and you see that she lingers, kind of leaning in the direction of Velurius again, before turning back to you, and says, "It is not often wise to speak openly of such things, but I will tell you, as I find you to be trustworthy in a way that many from a wild are not, that I do wish to put myself in a position to help Count Zentharmil. I am of lower station than he, but he is in need of allies, and I believe that I can be a good one."
Well, I appreciate hearing that, Baroness. I would assume he would be very appreciative of that as well.
She smiles somewhat knowingly and says, "That is the purpose of holding a event such as this. He is seeking allies. Perhaps you are aware," and she looks at you a little more and says, "and perhaps you are not, but he is struggling to grow his domain in the face of many adversaries."
Yes, I have heard. Being a newer member of the court, he has had adversaries trying to go after him, assuming that he's weak just because he is newer. Though that is not the case.
Indeed, it seems not to be, and I must confess, and you see like 2, 3, 4 faces peel away like so many party masks as she goes through the motions of this statement. I can't help but wonder how that is. He was a non-entity, and then suddenly he is Archfey and a count. It is unusual, to say the least.
It is. Is it supposed to take a longer amount of time?
Well, to put it bluntly, yes. A Fae grows in power through acceptance, through imperialism. Not to put too fine a point on it. And so, one of his power normally would command a large and stable domain already in order to reach his rank. So it is surprising to see someone come from nothing and be forged instantly as so great a being, much more powerful than myself, but not have land holdings to match it.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not well versed in those kind of goings on between with the Fae and their domains. So,
Are you a person that seeks truth?
I do like truth, but I'm not really one that really seeks it out. There is someone in my entourage that definitely fits that description, but I don't personally seek it out. I just like that it comes to me when it does.
Do you satisfy yourself with lies?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I don't really content myself with either lies or truth. I just look at what's in front of me and I base my reactions and my thoughts on that.
I see. She seems to hover for a moment, both metaphorically and literally, as she sort of drifts a bit back and forth next to you, as though, the bones in the middle of her body suddenly became gel. Before she looks back to you and says, well, if you find yourself more interested in seeking truth, knowing which faces are real and which are fake, you should speak to me. Recommend my alliance, Zintharmil. The Count will want to know someone like me. And do be careful.
Thank you, Baroness Elanasela. I appreciate the gesture, and I will speak to my liege.
She gives a kind of a tight smile before repeating, careful. Many here deal in lies and falsehoods. Tell you what you want to get your okay. I will always give you the truth. And she very abruptly just sort of turns away and drifts back over to the centaurs.
Okay. Yeah, Raiken, I guess, he was starting to bow and she just turned away and just basically just was like, alright, see ya.
I'm done with this conversation.
Raiken will just finish his bow just in case, like, stopping midway would be,
offensive.
Yeah, so he'll just continue it and finish it through.
Alright, she does not seem to take notice.
And with that, Raiken, I guess we'll move to the Marquis.
Marquis Valurius. Toss Lorelei over there. Zoop. As you approach, Marquis Valurius appears to be engaged in conversation with a couple other larger-than-life fae, though significantly less humanoid-appearing than himself, and significantly less richly dressed than him. And you hear him laughing in that deep baritone of his, before he seems to kind of catch notice of your movement out the corner of your eye, and you hear him quickly saying in a mix of Elvish and Common, "Thank you. It was a pleasure to speak with you today, and I do hope that we can find a chance to collaborate in the near future." And as those fae drift back into the party to mingle with others, he turns smoothly towards you, whisking a hand out around the side, which is now suddenly seems to be holding a wine flute. And he dips somewhat and offers it to you.
Raiken will take the wine flute, and as he's taking it, he will bow again to the Marquis and say, "Marquis Valurius, I hope that the festivities are enjoyable for you so far."
He smiles widely, and in his deep voice says, "Why, yes, I have been greatly enjoying the company of all of Count Zintharmil's colorful guests, but I must say that I have not been so impressed with any as I am with yourself, Knight Raiken of House Lumos."
Oh, I am honored to hear such a compliment.
Indeed, there are many who aspire to ranks such as ours, and some are worthy, but many more need a little help. Honestly, that is where I find myself fitting in nicely. Tell me, Raiken of House Lumos, have you ever dreamed yourself a king of a great nation commanding armies?
To be totally honest, I actually have never thought of myself as being a ruler. More or less, I've always thought of myself as not necessarily a savior, but someone who can be there to help people in times of need, and as well as being someone that I do like to show off my strength a little bit. I enjoy to dabble myself in the duel here and there.
You are no stranger to showing your prowess and asserting your dominance in certain fields.
Definitely, I quite enjoy doing that.
As you should. I feel all people, sooner or later, realize that they have certain qualities that make them exceptional in ways the people around them are not. Unfortunately, so many others will resent them for those same qualities. It's unfortunate. Too many find themselves held back, reserved by their wish to be more like others. But you know that that is silliness. You would not go and show your strength and participate in these duels if you were worried about people not liking you for being their better.
Oh, not of course not. I also believe the same thing. I feel like too many people look at someone and they want to be them, and that is where they fail, rather than trying to find perhaps something that they might be better at, be good at, and focusing on that instead, so that they become a better version of themselves.
Yes, precisely. Why emulate when you can escalate? Heighten yourself. I like to hear the way you think, Raiken of House Lumas. I think you will be an important ally for our Count Zintharmil as he seeks to climb these ranks. I do hope that you will pass on some of your strength of will that he might surmount the challenges he faces.
Thank you, Marquis Valerius. It is good to hear from somebody of your stature.
I think that when one person raises the people around them, they raise themselves in so doing. If I push you to greater heights, it increases my own renown as well, as a side effect. And so too can you help raise up Zintharmil and increase your renown.
I like that way of thinking. It's definitely true that if you help others, I feel like your name is going to get put out there more, as well as theirs, more than if you try to stop them or hinder them.
Do you know how few mortals understand this way of thinking?
It is sad how often people go the other route.
You are truly showing yourself to be exceptional among them, Raiken of House Lumas. And I do hope that means that we could find ourselves shoulder to shoulder on this journey someday.
Yes, perhaps someday, Marquis, I would be honored. For now, the journey is only just beginning.
You find yourself physically attached to him at the shoulder.
Damn it!
I'm kidding.
I said perhaps. I didn't actually agree to it.
I was just trying to find a way that I could just stupidly twist that.
I know. I've been really careful. Like, has he had me agree to anything yet? No, he hasn't. So I think I'm okay.
Well, if you maintain your position with Count Zintharmil, perhaps you will get to serve as an emissary for him, and you can visit my own domain. I think that would be a very auspicious day.
I would love if that happened, and I look forward to it.
Excellent. Well, it certainly does my heart good to see that our up-and-coming nobleman, Count Zintharmil, already has such fine and devoted subjects beneath him. And you will go far on this path as long as you keep pushing him up. I will pull from above.
Thank you, Marquis Valerius. Raiken will deeply bow again to him before straightening up again and saying, "If you will excuse me."
Of course. Please enjoy this party of which you are host.
And Raiken will walk away then.
Alright, the only people left to talk to are Zintharmil and Lorelei. There isn't anything of great import to say to them, unless, at least Lorelei, I guess. Maybe you want to report to Zintharmil. I don't know. I shouldn't be telling you what you want to do. What do you want to do?
I do want to report to Zintharmil, though.
Oh, very good. Boop, boop, boop. Move him over here. Just say that he is, enjoying the company of some of the food.
The company of not food.
Figure out why I tried to grab you and I grabbed him. So you approach Zintharmil, who you have seen him moving among the guests and speaking with them animatedly, has resigned himself to a corner for the moment where he seems to be interacting with a pair of what appear to be wolves in a very human manner, petting them and talking to them.
My liege, how has the festivities been for you?
He straightens up and turns, and you see the wolves kind of, like, circle around him a moment, and they eye you, and you notice as they eye you that their eyes are swirling nexi of cosmic energy. You feel like you can see stars within the depths of their orbs.
Shiny.
And he smiles down at you and says, "Ah, my knight, Raiken. I have seen you participating in the festivities. You have spoken with many who I would like to call ally before the day is out. To answer your question, things are going well on my end. How are you?"
It's been a little challenging, but I think overall I've hopefully presented myself in a good light with the court, and hopefully in turn presented you as well in a good light.
He tilts his head and smiles and says, "I have received no complaints, and every person I have witnessed you talking with has come away from the conversation in good spirits. So it is my belief, from over here, that you are doing as you seek.
Thank you, my liege.
Thank you for representing me so well. I know it was abrupt for me to bring you here, but I felt that you were the better choice over Leah for such an event.
Raiken will look around, assuming that
It's still going on.
Still orgies going on and eating live animals, and Raiken will be like, yes, I believe she is definitely not ready for something like this.
I think she soon may be, but I am glad that you agree with my decision.
I mean, personally, my liege, I wouldn't mind if she didn't come to one of these for another, 15 to 20 years, perhaps.
He laughs along with you for a moment before he says, "Of course, I will need her here sooner than that."
Very well. It's just a father worrying.
I am pleased to hear you say such things. As you know, I had been quite concerned, and he reaches down with one of his large hands and squeezes the shoulder of your outfit, the thin fabric giving way to his hand easily. You feel the warmth and pressure of him there.
Yes, I know that there were some worrying times, but I will have you know that I don't plan on using the final power of the armor to...
Sorry about that, I didn't even know where my phone was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you not hear me say hang on? Shit.
No.
Damn it.
I heard something, but I didn't know what it was.
Stupid phone. It was on the other side of the room. I had been looking around for it earlier, I better know where that is. And I didn't. Okay, I apologize. Something about... I only picked up Sacrifice. It's on the recording, which is good, but I'll need just a quick repeat.
Yes. Raiken says that there was a time of worry, but he is no longer planning on using the armor's power to sacrifice himself. He will find any way else to try to do things and keep Leah safe.
Okay.
So he knows that he can use the power, but there's a secondary thing that he could trigger that he will promise not to trigger.
He smiles proudly at this. Says, good. That eases my mind greatly, my knight. What did you think of my potential allies?
Raiken will nod and be like, yes, I was meaning to talk to you about that. First off, it seems like the mistress was very nice and fun. I can't exactly remember what I was telling her. I know there were stories that I told her, but I can't quite remember which ones anymore.
Oh my. She does like her first editions to be one of a kind.
I wish I knew what that meant, my liege.
Many Fae higher in the courts are very particular.
In any case, as far as I know, she seems like a reasonable ally.
Do you know
she...
if...
Oh, go ahead.
Do you know if her goals align with my own?
I know she is very much into water.
Interesting.
So at least part of nature, she seems to be quite important to her. I have doubts about Baroness Elaniswea.
That is unfortunate. I had invited her because I thought that her interest in uncovering secret plots would be useful to me. But if she is too obsessive, then...
That may be the case. However, I with her ability to change faces and talking about truths and lies, it was hard to discern if she truly wanted to find the truth or if she wanted to give lies.
Kind of looks at you somewhat confused and says, "Change faces?"
Do you not see it, Melise? She changed her face quite often when I was with her, talking to her.
That is not an ability. That is who she is. She was always showing you her truest face. It is not static like yours, nor is it the lie I choose to project. She cannot hide what she is.
Oh, I see. Then perhaps then I was wrong. I was not aware of exactly how that part of her was.
That is to be expected. I am glad that you talked to me about it and cleared it up.
If that is the case, then perhaps she could be an ally in searching for truth.
Good. I trust your judgment on these matters very well. You bring a human perspective to these things that I simply do not have.
The last one, well, I guess technically the last one that I know of that
Yes.
I talked to. Marquis Valerius.
Yes, a very powerful potential ally. I am most eager to see if we can work together.
He did seem to want to. We had quite the discussion on raising others up, and in turn, raising them up will help you as well.
I see, I think. That would be a good way of increasing my rank.
He did say that, as well as the possibility of him helping you and helping you grow would also help him grow as well.
There is
So
always a give and take. This seems sensible.
Yeah, so it definitely was also about helping himself rather than any kind of charity or anything, which it sounds like that is a normal thing in the Fae, with stature and all that, is nothing really ever comes for free.
There is a certain amount of quid pro quo one should expect in these types of dealings, my knight.
The only thing that troubles me about the Marquis is that before I spoke to the Baroness, as I approached her, it seemed like every time she looked at him, her face changed to one of... Was it a frown, or was it...
Yeah, it was a frown.
Okay. One of a frown.
Oh. It will not do
And
to have allies that cannot get along, will it?
it does not seem so, but I also wonder if the Baroness is indeed one that seeks truth and provides truth. If she believes or has knowledge that the Marquis might not be as truthful as he appears he might be in helping.
Oh my, that would be quite the scandal. And it would not do to get Autumn's elegy caught up in such. I will want you to help me suss this out.
I will do my best to try to give you the truth.
I trust that you will. And I thank you. Truly, I was not sure how you might respond when I pulled you here. I am glad that you have proven such a faithful supplicant.
I must say, this second part was a bit out of my element, if I do say so myself, but I am honored to be able to help you in any way that I can, and I am glad that has been the case so far.
Do you feel that you are less than the task? Is there someone I should bring in to help you?
I mean, I'm not the most eloquent, that's for sure.
You seemed to be doing just fine.
Well, thank you. I am glad to hear that, my liege. I don't know if anybody else would be ready yet for something like this, to take on the role of knight for you.
I cannot make them knights from here, but I might be able to guide them. That would be perhaps the best.
But it's... who knows? After all this, I'm sure that our secret is no longer a secret anymore from the party. So, after all this, who knows? There might be others of the party willing to join and help out.
Perhaps. I trust that Leah does not know you have sworn yourself to my service in the way that you have.
He has not. However, we'll see what happens after this.
I expect that there is something you might be able to say that would ease her on our arrangement.
Yes, I have to think about it, but when the time comes, I will do my best.
Very good. Well, there is still plenty of party to enjoy, and more of my potential allies for you to vet for me. Thank you for this report, Knight Raiken. You have been most well placed.
It is an honor, my liege. Now, to go and talk to more.
To go and talk to more. Alright. Cool. Well, I think that we're getting pretty close on time, and I think that this is enough here.
Alrighty. Yep, it is 5 o'clock for me.
Is that, like, exactly our time?
Well, it's actually 5:04. So, and I've already been told that it's basically ready.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we didn't go too far over then, because I didn't remember when we had to stop. And I was mostly letting you control this. Like, if you had not wanted to go talk to Valerius after talking to the Baroness, that would have been fine.
I was kind of keeping track of time, and I kind of figured, based off of how things were going, I was like, I think I could get through all three. And then I was like, oh, I think I could talk to Zintheramel and get about done.
Alright, excellent. Well, you seem to be having a good time, so I'm really happy. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I myself, I'm a little sad that Raiken doesn't no longer have those memories, but at the same time, I hope those instances get brought up so that Raiken can be like, "What the hell? When did that happen?"
You can play it however you like, whatever you think is best. I'm so excited about it. I know that in my head, the way it's been always playing out is like somebody else in the party talks about it, and Raiken goes, "Wow, that sounds like an amazing story. I wish I had been there for that."
Yeah.
I'll have them be like, "What you were? What are you talking about?"
I liked all three characters. Each of them had their quirks and their own personalities, so that was really good. It was a little nerve-wracking because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta make sure I'm not offensive in any way." And I don't make myself agree to anything that I don't want to do.
And I think that that's totally reasonable to have those fears when dealing with the Fae. The Fae are terrifying.
Yeah, because that was the thing. I didn't want them to propose something, and now I'm like, oh crap, if I don't agree to it, is that going to be offensive?
You'll have to ask one of the party members who knows more about the Fae, maybe. Is it okay to say no to a Fae?
Yeah, it'll be a little late by then, but
it will be interesting. Just as last time, you have no idea how much time has passed. It feels like it's maybe been a couple hours of talking, but at the same time, you feel like you just got here like 10 minutes ago, maybe. 5 minutes ago? 1 minute ago. It was really recent.
Yeah. The fade time is really weird.
Oh, yeah. That's probably the most disconcerting thing. Like, aside from knowing that you talked to the mistress and can't remember what you talked about is disturbing, but, like, those moments when you go, man, how long have I been here? When should I be expecting the party? And you go, oh no, I just got here. It's fine. Did I? No, there's no way I just got here. What did I do? I talked. How long did I talk? I don't know, we had big conversation. That might have been 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Call it 10 minutes. What did I do before that? Maybe I got here just... But no, there was a fight. When was that? Hours ago, right? No, that was like 5 minutes ago. Wait, that's not possible. Hold on.
Oh, man. Shit be cray.
Shit be cray. I am basing everything you're seeing on several different books about fairies that I've read. All of them are fun.
Well, I do enjoy this this place, this little setup that you have.
Autumn's Elegy!
Autumn's Elegy.
Alright, I want to end it there. Say bye!
Bye.
Hashtag goodbye.